Hi, I'm Dr. Melissa Longo. Welcome to Everyday Rockstar Moms, where every episode I'll interview moms just like you who are rocking it in their homes, raising their children, managing their households, building their careers, working on their relationships, dealing with challenges, finding success, trying to find balance, and themselves along the way. Every episode, you'll hear from women just like you of all ages and stages of motherhood, sharing their stories, life experiences, and leaving you with practical tips, ideas, and inspiration to help you rock your life. Good morning, Kathy. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Melissa.
I'm glad that you're here, and I'm really glad that you're going to have the chance to share some of your family story with our listeners. Just in our pre-chat, I got a great update about where things are at with your children and your husband and your work life. So maybe you can just start by telling everyone a little bit about yourself, where you're at right now with your children and work, and we'll go from there.
For sure. So I live in Collingwood with my husband, Jason, and my two kids, Damen and Abby. Damen is 11 and Abby is 8. And as much as I think my life is busy, my life is really busy because their life is so busy. So yeah, we're a family, living with active kids who are busy in sports and school. And I work for myself, have a business called Training for Life, and I do first aid and CPR training, as well as I teach various fitness classes throughout the Collingwood area.
And I think it's really important for people to kind of hear the fact that you started your own business while you have two busy and active children. And what led you to that decision?
So Jason and I are really conservative. We're not big risk takers. Right out of university, I had a full-time job, always had a full-time job. Jay's a teacher, so we were just about consistency, and we're not really big on change. Life just got really crazy with two full-time jobs and two busy kids, and being in Collingwood, and I worked as a recreation manager in tourism, and that involves a lot of weekends and holidays, and I found that I was always working when my family was having their time to play and be together. So it just, as much as my job was great and I was really happy where I was working, it was really fulfilling for me, I felt that I was missing out on my family, and as we know, life is short, and I really wanted to focus more time on them. So for about a year, I tried to plan, what am I going to do? How am I going to make everything work so I can have more time with my family? So on the side, I always taught fitness classes at various places in Collingwood, and I also taught first aid and CPR. And I thought, well, can I turn this into my full-time thing so that I can still contribute to my family? I don't want to be a full-time mom. I still want to be out and interactive with people, and I need to make a living. So how can I have it all? So I decided to take a leap and go out on my own. And so in June 2015, I did it. So I left my steady career job and went into the world of self-employment.
So let's talk about, you said flat out that you and your husband are non-risk takers, and then you went and took the big risk of leaving your job and starting a new business. Let's talk us through that your headspace during that time.
Yeah, it was crazy. So it was, I would say, okay, I'm going to do this. And then I would have Jay on board and we would be doing it. And then we'd think, no, it's not the right time. Let's keep doing what we're doing. So we'd keep doing what we were doing. And then finally I just set a date and said, I'm going to try this. And if it doesn't work, let's give it a year. And if it doesn't work, then I'll look for a new job. Not that it's that easy, I know, to go out and just find a career job, but let's do it. So we set a date and started saving, started putting some money away so that, if it didn't work out for me, that, we wouldn't not be able to feed our children kind of thing. And so, set that date and went for it. And Jay's still on board, which is really great because that was the hardest thing. And also, a big thing is I don't want to let Jay down, and I don't want to let my kids down. So a really big thing about being successful is making sure that I do what I promised them I would do by going out on my own. So that's what drives me and gets me to go out and recruit new business and do new things, is to make sure that I do what I promised I would do.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I love what you just said for a couple of reasons. I was just reading something just yesterday, actually, and it was about, a lot of people wait till they get really inspired and motivated to take action. When sometimes we can be, we're not really feeling so motivated or inspired to make a change, or there's all these other things and maybe some fears or other, dynamics that are maybe holding you back. And the best thing to do is just start, because once you just get started, the other actions start falling into place, and at least starts to build you some momentum. And it can actually be the opposite of what you think. So for you, you just decided to set the date and just commit to it and just get started and just see where it took you.
Exactly. And so far, it's been a year and a half, and it's going well. Like it's definitely had its ups, and I wouldn't say downs. I wouldn't say downs. It's just different. When you have a full-time career job and you work for someone else, it's very, very consistent.
Right.
As far as, your pay and your role and what you're doing. Whereas, as you know, when you work for yourself, you have highs and you have times where you're not as busy. Mm-hmm. And then you start to think, oh, did I make the right decision? I thought I'd be busy all the time, and and then it'll get really busy again. So it's just getting used to kind of those peaks and valleys.
Yeah, so when you have those moments, because certainly you're speaking an entrepreneur's language, truthfully. I mean, every business owner, whether they're even a CEO or a small business, has those moments, like you said, of things are rolling and things are great, and then there's times of challenge, whether it's, challenge with your team, challenge with finances, challenge with something. When you have those challenges with your own business now, what gets you back on track? Like, do you have something that refocuses you or gets you inspired or engaged?
I think what I found, because I was super busy, and then say October, for example, I wasn't very busy in October, and then I thought, why am I not busy? And then I took some time to actually look at my business, and I was so busy teaching classes and working, let's say, that I wasn't working on my business. And a friend of mine who has her own business, she said, as an entrepreneur, you spend so much time working in your business that you don't work on your business. So then in the month of October, I was like, okay, what are the things I need to focus? I need to work on my marketing plan and all of those things that I used to have to present to my manager. Mm-hmm. But since I was so busy working, I wasn't working on my marketing plan. I wasn't working on my internet hits. I wasn't building my business, let's say.
Yeah, because so you were the one executing. Yeah.
Yeah, I was doing everything, but I wasn't building for the future. I wasn't looking at 3 months out. I was in the day of. So when it came to a slow time, it made me refocus and start to look at, okay, how do I build my business? What are the things that challenge me? What do I need to work on? So that was really good.
Yeah, and it's certainly in those slow times is when you can actually devote the time to recreate, some of the patterns that you need to be establishing consistently.
Right. And reach out to other people and go to networking events and attend things where I can find out, hey, what are other people doing? And when I was working in my management role, there were all kinds of resources being passed to me. And, you can go to this conference and you can go to this session and you can learn what the current trends are and what's happening. Well, then once I start working for myself, it's really easy to be at home and miss out on what are the current trends, what is happening. Mm-hmm. So just making sure that I'm attending networking events and even getting out and teaching fitness classes. So I'll go into Active Life and teach a fitness class. Well, at the same time, I'm engaged with other people. I'm hearing about, what are they doing in their jobs? What are they doing in their days? And how are they balancing things with work and their kids? And that helps me. Mm-hmm. Because that's something you miss out on when you're not in the, 9 to 5 day working with a bunch of people.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I'm in my house. So, because my practice and my family life is all in the same building. And, I definitely have some key rituals for me that make sure I get out of the house, because as much as I'm talking to people in my practice all day, I want to engage with the rest of the world too. And sometimes it can get kind of lonely and boring.
People are coming to you.
Yeah.
Right? People are coming to you. Okay, well, people are coming to you. You stay home. But then there's so many things we're missing out on. So that's been a big challenge. And one friend of mine who's an entrepreneur, she said, I make sure I set meetings. So I set meetings, and I have to be prepared for those meetings. It gets me out of the house. It gets me motivated, gets me moving. So that was another good tip.
Yeah, so you certainly learned a ton in the last year and a half.
I have learned so much about myself and my family dynamics. And excuse me, a really big thing at first, it was kind of, with my kids and Jay, they'd be like, well, you're home. I'm like, yeah. I'm home, but I'm working.
Right.
And they'd be, well, what are you going to do all day? And I remember honestly thinking that of people who worked for themselves or worked from home, and, you're going to work and you're thinking, well, what do they do all day? And well, there really is a lot to do. And it's interesting, the different perceptions that people have. I'm sure you can probably relate.
Yeah, but it's also, when I'm in my work mode, I'm not doing laundry. And unless there's something really unusual going on. And in those moments, I feel very grateful that I have this kind of setup. But generally, I shift gears. When I'm wearing my Dr. Melissa hat, I'm in the practice. And even if the kids are home, I'm not focusing on their stuff unless it's an emergency and they need me. So it's pretty, right. It's not like I'm in my sweats all day, just, lounging around. There's a lot, there's a lot that happens here. And I'm sure for you guys, it was some new roles and responsibilities perhaps that had to change within your home.
Oh, completely. And just even a matter of, when the school day's done at 3, it doesn't mean that my day's done at 3. So that's just a big, a difference. Like, since I'm in the house, because, we take on that role of, we provide the food and we make sure everything's done and take care of the kids, but the workday doesn't end at 3. So It's been a big, right?
Yeah.
It's been a big, a learning curve for all of us as a family. Because they'll say to me, well, what do you have going on today? And it's, I'm meeting with this person, I'm meeting with that person. And they kind of look at me like, well, what's that? Mm-hmm. Whereas before, if it was, I'm going to work, okay, you're going to work. Like, it's just a different different perception. And, and we're still figuring it out. And that's with everything. It's evolving. So I haven't 100% figured it out, and I probably won't ever 100% figure it out. But the kids are really supportive, and Jay's really supportive, and the community has been awesome. Like, I can't be more thankful for living in a small community where people promote me and book me to do their trainings, and it's such a great community.
Yeah, and I think it's inspiring for people. There's also a lot of entrepreneurs, I think, in our community and small business owners that completely understand how you're feeling. And the more I listen to you chat, I think, wow, what a huge change from, you being an employee. Your husband is an employee of, the school board, and now you're living an entrepreneurial life, which is really difficult for a lot of non-entrepreneurs to understand.
It really is.
It can be, right? Like you said, like what are you doing today? And your husband maybe doesn't quite understand that all the things you're doing are designed to build relationships or grow your business or learn something more yourself. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's, why are you going to that event? Well, because I need to meet people and network and talk to people. Whereas when you go to work and you do your job, and your job comes home and it's part of your life and part of your social.
Yeah.
But this is just, it's really cool too, though. I feel, not that I was in a bubble, but I was surrounded by the same people all the time, which was really great, and I had great relationships. And now, in the past year and a half, I have met so many more people, and I've engaged with so many more people, and I just really feel like I've grown, that I have the ability to meet with all these different people and hear what they're doing and what their businesses are. And like, you go to one business networking event. I went to this women's event last February on International Women's Day, and it was all women who were working for themselves and telling everyone about their business. And I was like, oh, I'm not the only one doing this.
Yeah,
I'm not the only one trying to be successful and balance life and family. There's a whole bunch of us out there trying to do the same thing.
Absolutely.
In our own way.
You sound really excited about it. You sound like it's...
I am. Melissa, I'm super excited about it. It scares me to death a lot of the times. But at the same time, I, try and get the word out there and let people know and what I'm doing and get into their businesses and do their first aid training. And, people hear first aid training and think, oh, like, this is going to be such a boring day and I don't want to do it. But I try to make it fun and engaging, and that people walk away and they leave with a life-saving skill. And oftentimes in their workplace, it's team building. So everyone learns to work together, and that's what I try to do.
Yeah. So when you go back and think about, your motivation to change from, working for another company and to make this whole career change for you, was there anything pivotal? Like, was there any kind of challenge that you had with your kids or anything particular? Or was it just a growing sort of disease you felt with the harmony in your home?
So I think I really felt that I wasn't succeeding. Not that I'm going to do everything perfect, but I wasn't making my employer 100% happy. I wasn't making my employees 100% happy. I wasn't making my family 100% happy. It was hard to wear all of these hats and be successful at everything. And I kept trying, and I just thought, what is the most important part of this? Like, who do I, in the long road, when I look at myself and I'm 75 years old, I want to look back and think, what did I choose? And the most important part for me was Jay and the kids. And so I thought, okay, what am I going to do to make this happen? To have more time for them, more time as a family. And that was the ultimate reason. Mm-hmm. Right out of university, I had a full-time career job, and then I had my kids, went right back in when Damon was 6 months old, went right into a new career job and worked in it for 10 years. And it was great, but I knew there was more. I knew there was more for me. And that's what made me I took the time. I didn't just say, okay, I'm quitting my job.
Mm-hmm. You took a calculated risk.
Yeah. Oh, completely. And that's because we're not risk takers. Some people would just say, okay, I'm quitting my job and I'm going to do something new. Yeah. But for us, we knew we needed to have a plan. So that plan was, okay, work some extra, fitness classes and teach some first aid courses and teach some stuff on the side and put some money in the bank, set an action plan, set a date, give lots of notice to your employer so that they have time to find the right person for the job. And then we did it. Mm.
I love that you took the time to step back and say, okay, this is the life I'm living. Is this truly what I want and what matters to me? Because a lot of people just keep going on that treadmill and they never take a minute to stop and think, is this everything that I want? And if we look at the forms of wealth that we have as humans, it's certainly not just financial. It time freedom, our health, personal connections, our relationships. I mean, those are all so vitally important to each and every one of us. And you guys certainly took the time to think about it for yourself. So that's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. And we just really needed to make sure. And, and even still, like if you ask me tomorrow, I might say, maybe this wasn't the best decision. And then the next day I'll say, okay, this is really great. And then I can be there for my kids and I can, I see you at school pickup. We can pick up our kids from school. And there's nothing wrong with not being able to pick up the kids from school, but I have joy in that. I love them getting in the car and saying, how was your day? And tell me about it. And, let's go hang out at the library for an hour. And even if we're hanging out at the library and they're reading a book or on the computer at the library, and I'll sit in the children's area and do some work on my computer. So just trying to find that balance, because they're really fun. And they're 8 and 11. They're at really fun ages. Yeah. And, that's why we had kids.
Yeah.
That I want to spend time with.
Be a parent.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's my absolute favorite time of the day. It doesn't matter what kind of day I'm having, picking up my sons. And now it's only one that I get to pick up because the older one is in high school now. But, just seeing them at the end of the day, as a mom, it just makes my heart smile every single day. So I'm with you on that one. And I can also appreciate the time freedom. I mean, it's something that I loved. And when I actually moved my practice into my home, when we went through that change a few years ago, at first my sons they had a tough time with it because they were just like, okay, you're working, they didn't understand the disconnect. I mean, they were younger at that time, but as time has gone on, it's certainly built into, look, when mommy works, I'm able to provide the things for you, for your hockey, for your tournaments, for your food in our fridge, for this trip we want to take. And they, over time, they were able to make a connection. And, like you, I would also, if we're at the library sometimes, I'll pull out my laptop or I'll pull out my phone. And nowadays you can do everything on your phone anyway. And sometimes they still give me a hard time. And I'll look, dudes, I get to pick you up from school because I could take my time out of that part of my day. But now I can take a few minutes right now and respond to something that allows me to work and be the kind of mom I want to be all at the same time.
I'm saying the exact same thing to my kids. Yeah. Exact same thing, and Abby will say, you're always on your phone. Or why can't we be on our technology right now? I'm like, because you're watching YouTube. Yeah. I'm booking business. I'm engaging with people, but of course they don't understand because they're kids. But like you said, they're developing an understanding for that.
Yeah, and it's a great role model that you're setting for your children, not only as a mom and life skills, but as, you know, as a business owner. It's a book that I tell every single entrepreneur, and for all of you moms listening to this today, this read is fantastic. It's one of Arlene Dickinson's books. I did enjoy her first book, Persuasion. Her second or third book is called All In, and it's basically about entrepreneurial life. And I love it because I feel like it should be required reading for the partners or family members or children of any business owner, because she just tells it like it is. As far as when you're a business owner, you're all in. You're always thinking about something. Right. Your business excites you, and your brain starts changing a little bit. And it's not that you want to miss out on dinner with friends, but if your business opportunity comes up, you might take that instead. And she really gets to the heart of entrepreneurial life as a woman, I think. So there's a resource. I'll put all these notes, in the show notes as well today. I want to talk a little bit about your supportive husband, because you guys have been together, as you said, for a long time, and obviously been through a career change, and you've already mentioned how incredibly supportive he is for you. What kind of tips can you give our listeners about, keeping your relationship healthy?
I don't know. We've evolved. Like, we've been together for, more than half our lives. So we've definitely been through a lot of different stages, from university to career jobs to kids. And we just really connect. We spend a lot of time together. We do a lot of family stuff. So we go to our cottage and we have a boat, and we do a lot of similar, as much as we have different activities that we do separately, we do a lot together. And we really enjoy our time. Like, my kids will say, I want a bigger house, because they'll go to someone's house who has a bigger house. And I'm like, well, even if we had a bigger house, we're all sitting on the same couch. Mm-hmm. We're all sitting at the same dinner table. So if the room was bigger, it's really not going to change our dynamic, because we like just being together, the four of us. So a bigger house isn't going to change that. A better car, none of that's going to change it. Just the four of us being together. Mm-hmm. So I think we spend a lot of time together, and Jay's a really hands-on dad. Like, he's a hockey coach and their tennis coach, and he spends a lot of time with the kids, which is really great. It's what we like. We're kind of big kids. Yeah,
so do you guys get time together? Do you have any, rituals that are just for you and Jay, or is it sort of...
I know. We used to do date night, and then we talk about, we need to do date night, and then we'll do date night, and then it'll be a month later, and we'll be like, we need to do date night. So we were good when the kids were really little, and, we had the block-booked babysitter, so yeah, now that you say that, we should get date night back on the calendar.
There's a little reminder. It sounds like you guys are in a really good place anyway, and that family time, you're integrating, time together when you're with your children as well, so.
Yeah, and oftentimes, we'll say, let's go for dinner, and then it'll be, actually, let's grab dinner and, eat at home and just be together, because then we can engage with one another, and then the kids go off and they go off to their iPads, and we sit and have a glass of wine and chat, and
you find the time where you can, given the ages of your children right now, basically.
Completely. 2 kids both playing rep hockey, and one goes one way and one goes the other, and that gets a little tricky, but then we find our way to come back together.
Yeah, I didn't know that your daughter played hockey as well. I knew your son did, but that's a busy life.
Yeah, so Abby's in her first year of rep hockey as well. So, there's been a little bit of divide and conquer, but we make it work.
What are some of your biggest strategies for making your, those family situations work? I mean, even just meals and carpooling. Like, do you have any things that really work for your family that help you manage your kids' active lifestyles and your work life? Like, any tips for moms out there?
Well, it's so funny that you say meals, because if you ask me my biggest parenting challenge, I would say it's food. And I feel like it goes back to, I don't know, like maybe the breastfeeding days of when my kids look at me, I just look like food to them, because food is a really big challenge. And it's finding that, if it's Sunday afternoon or Monday morning, that you do your grocery shop and pack the fridge with food and make meals and double batch them so there's one in the freezer. I find that's a big challenge, because you pick your kids up from school and they're hungry, and then they kind of have like a pre-dinner before they go to their activity, and then when you get home from your activity, you have your actual dinner. So as far as strategies, it's just trying to keep on top of it.
Yeah, so you try to make some time on the weekend to plan ahead, or to prepare extra meals.
Yeah. Yeah, so when when I can grab a few hours to, prep all the vegetables and instead of just throwing the carrots in the fridge, right? And the good food box is great. Grab that once a month and just try and have fresh food in the fridge and things that they can grab and go. And I love when people share different recipes that are healthy, and it's so easy to, hit the drive-through and the kids will say, "Let's go grab a smoothie." And but I like that if I have everything at home, then they can make a smoothie or you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
So I mean, strategy.
I'm just a few years
trying to.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I don't think it's a strategy. I think it's just trying to keep on top of it, because I would say that my biggest challenge is, not my biggest, but one of my biggest challenges is food and feeding them healthy food, because I don't want to just be hitting the drive-through. Not that there's anything wrong with hitting the drive-through, but I want to teach them healthy food choices and keep them nourished for all of their activities that they're doing. Yeah, and myself.
It's no doubt when you've got kids that need to get to practices and arenas and your schedule, you're not sitting home often for, meals at the table all the time. And it's, I hear you. Only my oldest son plays hockey, but it certainly had an impact on the rest of us because, just his own schedule affects our planning and our meals. And yeah, I can't tell you it's going to get any easier, Kathy, because they're going to continue to grow and eat and
eat more.
And eat more.
I know my mother-in-law commented that when Jay moved out, like her grocery bill cut in half. So
yeah,
I imagine that'll happen to us. But it's great. It's just all part of making it work and keeping everyone fed and happy and to their activities on time.
Yeah. So, you mentioned that food has been a bit of a tricky thing for you to figure out and continue to stay on top of. But have you ever had any challenges with either of your children as a parent that have been more difficult than anything else that stand out in your mind? Because so many parents have, incidents that.
Yeah. Well, I would say that we're, Damon is really competitive and he's really hard on himself, and he can just get really competitive and he can get down. And then we say, we don't feel that we're hard on him. And, you often think when you see something in a kid, oh, that's coming from home, or they're learning that at home. And so we try to talk to him about things and keep him on the right track, because Abby's still so lighthearted and 8 years old and fun, smiling. And he's 11, and he's really competitive and sometimes has challenges with friends at school. And so at this point, we just talk to him about it, or talk to each other and try and figure out, keep him on track.
Yeah, it's interesting as they get older. I find the same thing with my older son. He's 14 now, but their needs change and they start to figure things out. They start to question things themselves, and they have their own personalities that start to come through. And then they have to also manage their feelings and learn how to deal with stresses, and whether they're competitive or whether someone else is bothering them, and there's something at school, and you become as a parent more of a coach and a guide, and and someone to drive them around and feed them, of course, too. But your role as a mother, I have found, certainly changes in that they need different things from you. They need some of that emotional guidance, and it's okay to be competitive, but you're still a good person if you miss that shot in hockey, or you miss that, your team didn't win, doesn't mean that everything's going to go wrong. It just means that you're going to win the next game.
Yep. Yeah, and that's all with talking to, moms like you and other people. And I have 2 older sisters, one who has 2 boys. So just talking to other people and getting their tips and advice. And sometimes I don't take everyone's advice. I think what I've learned from the very beginning of becoming a mom is I have to choose. I'll listen and I'll read, and then I have to choose what to keep and what to let go. Because everybody's advice doesn't necessarily work for me, but I want to hear it because a piece of it might help me.
Right. That's really honest. I like that. It's making sure that you're making decisions for your family that are intuitively guided and really fit for you guys as a family, which is something that I'm always, recommending to moms, because moms can be hard on themselves, and moms can take a lot of flack from other moms sometimes about choices that they're making. And it's not easy to listen to your instincts and do what's best for your family or your child in a given moment, but it's usually 100% the right thing to do.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. So when do you get time for Kathy? Like Kathy, not Kathy the entrepreneur, Kathy the wife or the mom. Like, when do you get time just for you?
Well, I have a big circle of girlfriends, and I definitely spend time with them. And I also I feel that I make sure I get my workouts in. I'm a better person when I'm active. And even if I'm tired and I go for a workout or I go for a run or I go hike up the mountain, I feel so much better. So I definitely take some time for myself at least 5 days a week. And if I don't, I feel it. I feel it emotionally. I feel it physically. So I have a booked workout with a trainer once a week, and she's awesome. And it's also as much as it's exercise, it's a person that I'm committed to meet with every week. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I get a good workout, and we also have our social and our catch up.
And that commitment means that you're not gonna miss it.
Oh yeah, it's committed. It's booked in. It's in the calendar, you know, every Tuesday. So, so I make sure, definitely. And when I teach fitness classes, as much as I'm leading them, I really enjoy it. So that's
you're getting
good me time as well.
I love that two things that are close to my heart is one is women connecting with other women. Absolutely. There's such power and strength in connecting and having friendships and having some laughs and doing things that take your mind off the mom, you know, the business owner, but, you know, a lot of commonalities, I'm sure, in you and your girlfriends and the stages that you're in with your family life. And also fitness. I mean, exercise is the wonder drug for everything. It makes everything in your body work better as well as your moods. And I'm glad that you shared that with everyone.
And interesting, go ahead.
No, go finish what you were saying. I was going to ask you if you had any, you know, thoughts about anything you wish differently, but.
Differently, no. I wouldn't say differently. I would say there are points along the way that I would change. But then I guess I just learn and grow. And even my kids know that if I'm in a rush and I'm not prepared, I don't work well.
Right.
And they see that, and they've learned that about me. And sometimes if I'm rushing and I'm trying to do too many things or get something done, then Abby will even remind me, you know, Mom, you don't work well when you're rushing. That's right.
You love it when your children point out our own rules.
Yeah. But it's true, right? And they see that, and then at least if I do get frustrated, then they'll know it's not them that's frustrating me. It's that I'm trying to do too many things at once, or and I need to slow down.
Yeah, no, I guess my question would be if you were to give advice to moms with young children just starting out, you know, in the motherhood journey, based on your own experience, you know, what would that be?
I guess it's the good old enjoy it. It goes, as we know, it goes so fast, and they grow up so fast, and you know, pictures pop up on your computer screen, and it's like, wow, that was 6 years ago. And one thing I wish I would say, actually, that I wish I did more of was journaling. I wish I wrote more things down. I wrote more things in their baby books, and because I always think, I'm going to go back and I'm going to write that down, but I'll never feel the way I felt in that moment if I had have written it down, right?
Right, and some of the things that make you laugh in those random family moments, they don't last too long if you don't write them down. I'm guilty of that too. Yeah.
Just write them down, or in this day and age, video it.
Yeah, that's true. Would you say that motherhood has been what you thought it would be?
No. I'd say I don't really remember what I thought it would be, but I just think it changes daily, right? So we're still working on it.
Yeah.
But as far as what I thought, you know, a friend of mine was talking about how her friend went through so much fertility and to have children, and then once she had 2 kids, she's like, oh my God, they won't stop crying. She's like, remember everything you went through to have kids? So enjoy it.
Yeah, enjoy it and be grateful for the moments that we have, because I certainly have, lots of families who struggle with fertility issues, and it just makes you grateful for the role that we get to play in their lives. Well, Kathy, thank you so much for your time today. If people want to connect with you, we'll make sure that your information is in our show notes, but I'm assuming that it's Training for Life would be the best way. If people, need to update their CPR, if they want to talk to you about anything that they're working on within their organizations, they can connect with you.
And thank you so much for your time today. I've really enjoyed it, and I need to actually get going now to meet up with my trainer, who's going to kick my butt here in a few minutes.
All right. Thanks so much. I'm going to take some notes for myself. I learned a lot throughout our conversation today.
From the things that you just said to yourself, right?
Yep.
It's awesome. Well, good luck to your family's hockey season, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thanks, Melissa.
There you have it, a great story today from a mom who rocks. I hope you enjoyed today's show. Be sure to head on over to iTunes and subscribe to the podcast so that you don't miss out on any future episodes. When you do that, I'll be sending you a copy of my top 10 tips for moms. These are some of my personal practical strategies I believe that as women we can all benefit from and help us be emotionally and physically as healthy as we can be. When you're also there on iTunes, I would also love it if you left a review. It's really important to leave some reviews because that helps other people find the podcast, and it helps inspire them to listen and potentially gain some insight from the podcast. Tell other moms that you know would benefit from this show, or most certainly nominate them and let me know who you think I should be interviewing. I'd love for you to connect with us on Facebook as well. Head on over to Everyday Rockstar Mom and join our community there. Thanks so much for joining us today. We'll see you next time.